Let's get analysis now from retired Lieutenant General Karen Gibson, former Director of Intelligence for U.S. Central Command. General, great to have you back on the show. So the United States just resumed strikes on Iran in the last couple of hours. Air defense sirens are going off in western Tehran and at this major gas facility. The Trump administration says these are self-defense strikes on multiple targets. How close are we to all-out war breaking out again?
Yeah. So I think the strikes that we've had to date have been more clearly defined as self-defense. So the ones yesterday...
But what does that mean exactly? I mean, self-defense strikes.
Sure. So I think actually what I would say is ones that were related to an ability to transit through the Strait of Hormuz, things that could explicitly threaten ships. You know, radars, coastal batteries, for instance, and the response, the retaliation against the Apache shootdown, things associated with the drone kill chain that brought down or likely brought down the Apache. So ground control stations, radars, command and control headquarters, things associated with those drones. Hitting the gas field is a lot harder for me to think of as a self-defensive measure.
Right.
You know, I thought that what might happen would be additional aspects of drone infrastructure, or perhaps things more closely associated with the ability to get through the straits, like the IRGC Navy or anti-ship missiles. But hitting more broadly, particularly at dual-use military civilian infrastructure or things related to energy, that is harder for me to think about how that's classified as self-defense.
Well, and President Trump from the Oval Office today threatened to strike civilian infrastructure targets. And there were reports from Iran that, in fact, he already just did strike a water treatment plant. So, you know, it's also hard at this point, especially initially after a strike, to determine exactly what had happened. But I think that the water reservoir, the water treatment plant thing just shows how easily and how quickly the legitimacy of targets can be contested. And there's really a contest in the strategic narrative between the United States and Iran about what is being done. It does certainly get muddier when they are dual use military civilian targets, and not strictly related to military infrastructure. Muddier, harder to call them self-defense strikes. These latest strikes do come one day, just one day after Trump was saying a peace deal was imminent. Republican Congressman Carlos Jimenez of Florida might have been speaking for a lot of Americans when he said this is like Lucy and the football, that the president has said 38 times by one count that a deal is imminent, and then the deal never happens. The president himself today said Iran is, quote, playing us for suckers. Is it?
Well, he's clearly frustrated with the seemingly glacial pace of negotiations, and it's made even slower by the very opaque and arcane way in which the Islamic Republic is communicating, both internally and with mediators. And I think he's largely lost patience. One thing I find frustrating in trying to monitor what's happening here, it's easy to count strikes, to see what's exploded, to monitor military operations. But the diplomatic efforts, you know, those are obscured, and we really have to infer what's happening. It's not something that we can visibly see and measure, and we're in many cases relying on his statements.
And by the way, we're just negotiating to come up with a memo of understanding to then really negotiate. I mean, this is so preliminary. We're far away from a nuclear agreement. That's way down the line. In the meantime, Iran claims that it did not shoot down that Apache helicopter, which, by the way, may have actually been part of that effort to guide tankers through the Strait of Hormuz. Is it possible that this Shahed drone was aiming for a tanker and that it hit the Apache by accident?
So I think the attribution of the Shahed coming from Iran is pretty clear, and it's probably evident on many sensors, on ships and on aircraft and in headquarters, where the Shahed launched from and, you know, what it did. The understanding the intent of the Iranians, whether it was an accident, whether it was a mistake, whether it was intentional, that's really far more difficult.
This cheap $20,000 Shahed drone took down a multi-million-dollar helicopter. Is our military playing catch up when it comes to drone warfare? We're seeing this in Ukraine, where Ukraine has managed to inflict incredible damage on the enormous Russian army by using drones. And we're seeing, it seems, the same thing here now in Iran.
Well, it's a very asymmetric weapon. We spend a lot of money on missile protection, our Patriot batteries, et cetera. They're not optimized for things like drones. And really, it reminds me of, 20 years ago, improvised explosive devices. It was very easy to build cheap IEDs in Iraq. And we spent a lot of money trying to counter those. It is the cyclical nature of warfare and weapon development. And this is another example of a very asymmetric, cheap offensive capability that takes a lot of money and a faster revolution of developing countermeasures for.
Well, let's hope we develop many more of these drones super fast. Lieutenant General Karen Gibson, always great to talk to you and get your expertise. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.